shaft, to the Cup Price shaft, and to the Uncle Sam shaft. What about that, Larry?
I don't know.
Step off through the fall. You guys slow. You guys would step off on the left-hand side, just following back in this direction. Step off on the left-hand side. Folks, on the opposite side of the train, you'll see two red and white signs that say evacuation, evacuation, evacuation right there. I wish I'd say alternate route instead of evacuation, I really do. But if anything would happen down here that we couldn't get out the way we came in, we'd walk down Prospector 61 right there, about 800 feet on a real nice flat surface. Then we come to 4 sets of wooden steps, and those wooden steps would be those real cool Indiana road types, I guarantee you. We'd walk up those, walk a little further, and we'd wind up smack dab on the Highway 80 out there. I'd like to tell everybody with me right now, we're a lot safer down here than we are standing on the side of Highway 80. I promise you. We're heading down this route today, guys. Again, when you walk down here, please use your lights and don't care if you're putting
Going to the southwest shaft, Larry.
He's pretty tall down here.
There's the track. Alright. If you ain't gold, let me know. Look nice.
Okay.
Price of timber's gone sky high. We got a sport our ground down here, so now we have these people to hold up that mountain. You guys are doing real good. Folks, a little mine engineering here for just a little bit how we got down here and what they did. The tour route's on the 3rd level of the Copper Queen mine. There are actually a total of 7 major levels in this mountain, each one vertically 100 feet apart. So up above us, we have 4 more tunnels, similar to this one, also 2 more down below. But a lot of sub-levels and mining in between, that's for sure. Your major levels are always numerical, your sub-levels alphabetical right there. And guys, in this mountain, there's over 143 miles of track and tunnel. Kind of give you an idea of the scope of things. Most of it's up above us too. We came from 1880, this part of the mine, 1915 right here. By 1915, all the ore to be mined up above us had to be dropped down here to the 3rd level to get it to the outside world. The piece of equipment that did that, guys, you're looking at it right there in front of you. Those 4 wooden chutes go back in this mountain about 12 feet. And 12 feet back there, picture this tunnel a couple times bigger than it is, going straight up vertically, connecting some of those levels and sub-levels up above. The miners up there have the stopes, the tracks, the cars, they're dumping the ore, filling up this one big transfer chute. And guys, there are many, many transfer chutes in this mountain like stopes. One of the first ways of moving the ore or tramming the ore down here in Bisbee was animal power. They would train a mule on the surface to pull forward those 1-ton cars full. Once that mule was trained, it was brought down underground and spent its entire working life for 4 or 5 years down here before ever going back up on the surface. Now, before somebody gets their phone and calls PETA, or throws a big old rock at me, guys, at least here in Bisbee, we're proud to say they took good care of these animals. They really did. Had little stables built for them down here underground, gave them the best feed and water money could buy. Also a full-time veterinarian on the company payroll. What these animals needed, they got. And they didn't let them die or go blind down there either, folks. After 4 or 5 years, they take those mules back up to the surface. Once on the surface, rehabilitate them to sunlight and simply give these animals away to townspeople, farmers, ranchers, whoever needed a mule right there. And the last mule came up from underground duty in Bisbee in the year 1931. Very late date right there. But there's a cool little side story about that rehabilitation, folks. Those animals were down here for 4 or 5 years in dimmer light than what we're in right now. So when they took them up to the surface, that sun just blinded them. They would immediately herd these animals and fill a big old wooden barn, shut all the doors and windows. Now they had food and water and ventilation there for them. As far as that rehabilitation, guys, something as simple as possible. Every day after that, just slowly open those windows and doors a little more, letting in that sunlight gradually right there. I thought that was pretty cool when I read about that, guys, because that was really unusual for back in those days. Taking good care of those mules like that. Now, everybody seems to want to talk about that little 4-wheel bike. Anybody interested? Okay, all right. It was just a blip, a millisecond Bisbee mining history, folks. I did have a 1st grade class in here a couple years ago, and it was not used to pull cars, that's for sure. But I asked that class if anybody knew what this bike was used for. One little 1st grader standing way over there in the back raised his hand, and he told me this was a miner's workout bike right here. And I really liked that answer. That was pretty cool. I've never thought of that, man. I think he's watching a little bit too much advertisement on TV right there, but still. Anybody tell what, yeah, type C that is?
Yeah, banana seed.
seed. So we figure early 1960s on this bike right here. So evidently, in the early 1960s, the shift bosses here in Bisbee got tired of all the walking and climbing. So they asked mine management for some form of transportation, and this is what they got right here, guys. I think it's kind of comical too. I could have done better than this right there. They built these bikes for the miners, or for the shift foreman to use, but they never put brakes on them. They weren't looking ahead. This guy could pedal just as fast forwards as he could backwards right there. But by the 1960s, they weren't using mules to pull around cars. They were using electric trolley motors. They were powered by this live wire above, and that's a 240 volt positive exposed wire right there. That trolley car would have an arm that would swing up and make contact with that. Your rail was a negative. Hard for me to believe, guys. In my day, folks, the mining had the comm and the ground up there with a positive, so if you had an arc, it was from there to there. Back in the day, if you had an arc, it would be right down from there, right there. But those trolley motors were super powerful, guys. They could pull anywhere from 25 to 32 ton cars out of here at about a 40 mile an hour speed. And that's booking it pretty good down here. This poor guy's riding the bikes on the same tracks those trains are going on. When he sees one coming, he has to drag his feet to stop this bike. Remember the old Fred Flintstone cartoons there? Once he gets his bike stopped, pick it up, set it off the side, wait till the trains pass, and pick it up and put it back on. Not quite as heavy as it looks, guys. Those wheels are aluminum, which make it just a little bit lighter. But I figure about 35 pounds right there for that bike. Still a real hassle. And they came in and they went right back out real quick, guys. Yeah, now when those men open those chutes, folks, this is what they were looking for to come out. If you folks in the back want to step a little closer, if you feel comfortable, if everybody feels okay with that. Here's some of that pretty green copper ore up close and personal, that malachite right there. Folks, in 1945, this was a major ore in this mountain right here. This rock would be taken out of the mine, sent to a rock crusher, crushed down to about 1/2 inch size pebbles right there. From the rock crusher, it goes to the smelter. They smelt that down and remove about 98% of that waste. But it still has one more step to go, folks. From the smelter goes to the refinery. They do some electrolysis for the smelting and remove those impurities. Comes out of that refinery about 99% pure. But a lot of this ore, the Bisbee produced, guys, this type of ore right here, that 2% that the refinery took out was your good stuff, what you kept, your silver and your gold right there. Now we're gonna walk over here. I'm gonna pull this out rather than not walk, but take a look at that big old gold nugget. Everybody put your lamp on it right there. Does anybody think that's a real gold nugget? Of course not. If it was, I would have taken that here a long time ago, young man. I'd be down in Guaymas, Mexico doing some deep sea fishing right now, partner. But this is a very important mineral in Arizona today, folks. It's a mineral called chalcopyrite. It has iron, sulfur, and copper in it. This rock in the state of Arizona has put a lot of people's young ones through college, put a lot of groceries on the table, and paid off a lot of houses, all three of the above in my household right here. Now, we have any rock hounds or geologists here with me right now? I know we got some guys interested in mining right here, back in here, right there.
Yeah.
Folks, this is actually called a hypergene mineral, this chalcopyrite is. What that means is, every other copper mineral on the face of the earth comes from this rock at one point in time, including that pretty green malachite, wants to look just like this right here. Now, we're up in the stope looking all around with our lamps, guys. We saw those little sparklies looking back at you right there. Here's a big piece of that sparkly right here. Folks, this is a mineral called calcite. All calcite is a rock constitutor, a builder of limestone, folks. Occasionally, calcite will grow into real fantastic shapes, especially when it's those little stalactites and stalagmites, and it's worth a lot of money, But this piece of calcite right here, partner, is worthless. It's worth nothing right there. But it does do something kind of cool. Again, if you would take your lamps and hold them up against yourself for a few, check this out, folks.
It's a glow.
Exactly right.
Ah, cool.
Looks kind of neat right there.
Yeah.
Kind of reminds you of the salt lamps up in the gift shop. Huh? Now, this is not a commercial for our gift shop. You're not getting me wrong, guys. It kind of looks like one right there. And that's all it does. Go ahead and pull your lamps back out, folks. Any questions on transfer chutes or strange little bikes or mule haulers or worthless rocks that glow in the dark before you move on?
Once they open those things, then
Have a good day. Well, we saw one is up in the stope. Here's two more of them. These are a little more modern than the one we saw in the stope right here. You saw me deal with hand drilling for the blasting. 1880s, I mean really, really old technology. We'll take a look at the blast face in just a few minutes here, but first we'll talk a little more about drilling. By the 1920s, not only in Bisbee, but worldwide, the mining companies had these more modern pneumatic or air-powered drills that drill holes for blasting. You have an air compressor on the surface, piping compressed air down here. Compressed air would enter the drill through these two fittings, and once that compressed air is inside the drill body, that causes a piston to hammer back and forth inside here. Almost like the piston in your engine in your car in the parking lot right now. That piston in turn would cause your drill steel to hammer back and forth and rotate, guys. No more going a couple holes 3 feet deep. Now 25 plus 7 foot deep.
wow.
I was hard on by Phillips Dodge Mining Company, guys, and what was it, May 15th, 1981. By the time I got hard on, these things were long gone, and I'm really super glad. These are man-eaters, folks. These drills weigh about 220 pounds apiece. These things are super heavy. Column step another 100 pounds. It would take two good, strong young men about 8 hours to drill 25 holes, 7 foot deep. But hey, a lot better than no hammer and chisel dig, that's for sure. Were they loud? You better believe it. Way above 85 decibels, that's what's required for human hearing protection. Even though they had water suppression for the dust, they were still super dusty, and carpal tunnel syndrome, all three of the above right there. And people tell me they look like old-time machine guns too, I don't know, that's what they say. Questions on the drills, guys? For some reason, people seem a lot more interested in blasting than drilling. I don't know why. Human nature, let's walk right down here. And again, you watch this.
Like the shaft.
Well, kind of form an umbrella, semicircle around. Some of you got that question right in there. This is kind of my favorite part of the tour because it's pretty cool and it's very interesting to learn this. With any one of those two drills I've just shown you, those miners have 25 holes drilled, 7 foot deep. The drills run at a safe distance. Now they're getting ready to do what's called load the fascia, put the powder in the hole. When I say powder, any type of explosives right there. But unlike on the surface, folks, you can't just detonate and blow this rock up out here. If they did that, they'd take a real good chance of collapsing their timber, maybe even bringing some of this mountain down. So with the exception of the little ones, and this gentleman right here, we're all going back to high school today, 101 physics, and learn about implosion instead of explosion. The secret to implosion is really pretty cool. Out of all those, it's simple too, out of all those holes loaded, look right in the center where I'm circling my leg, guys, you'll see a 5-hole group right there, real close together. It's called a 5-hole burn pattern. That miner working with that very center hole put 5 or 6 sticks of dynamite in there with the 12-foot fuse hanging out. This fuse will be cut shortest when lit, this hole detonates first. Right around, guys, going back 7 foot 2 or 4 empties with absolutely nothing in them. And that's the key to implosion, those 4 empty holes right there. Out of all these holes loaded, the ones with fuses hanging out, that center one is the only one that's explode out. The rest will implode in, and here we go. That fuse burns in, sets off that blasting cap, which in turn detonates your powder. When that thing explodes out, guys, it takes a path of least resistance and blows right out those 4 empties on each side all the way back in there. Everybody with me? Yeah. For a second, about 11-inch diameter hole, 7.5 foot back with crushed rock. But you imagine the stored energy. You have to have that opposite reaction. Only one place it can go. You get that shotgun effect. Takes that rock and just shoots it out, puts it right in there. Time out. Right in the middle of all this energy that's about to be released in this rock face, all this dynamite that's about to walk around it, they simply have an empty cylinder going back in there called a cut hole and reliever cavity, and that's what they want. Because when the center hole exploded out those 4 empties, it blew out on the side, just a little bit left down. Now the next 4 holes are ready to be shot one at a time in a circle right around your cut hole. These 4 holes right here, with a thin piece of limestone between them and that cut hole, and thick limestone on the outside. So when this hole is shot next, it's not going to try to break out the 1.5 foot of limestone. Again, it takes that path of least resistance and implodes right into our cut hole all the way back in there. Now we're imploding and bring this blast in the center. They call it shoot and break. When this one's shot, it'll break down, that'll break over that cut hole, and that'll break up. Next 2 or 3 seconds, you got about a 24-inch diameter hole, 7.5 foot back. The only difference is, because that original cavity, right, guys, the rock that stays in because it has somewhere to go instead of shooting out and taking your timber.
Yeah, right.
Now, center cavity will continue to expand outwards in all directions. Boom, 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 boom. The rock from all directions will continually fall into that ever-expanding center cavity. They could have detonated 135 sticks of dynamite right there, folks. That 8x8 timber still standing right there. Don't try this at home,
But
because it will work.
you gotta get that rock out of that. It's not all shooting out, is it?
No, it's all compiling back in. You don't want it to shoot out, man. Yeah, because of the ever-expanding center
So
cavity.
you're breaking it down and then you get the crap out. You get this.
Or you can do a pull round too. Let's say all these holes have detonated. You got about 40 ton of crushed rock sitting in there because of gravity. You got a good air gap, about a foot tall. I'm a foot tall going back in with empty space right up in there.
Yeah.
But everything's gone off except that lifter round. Your lifter round's the last horizontal row across the bottom, sir.
Okay.
You didn't put 4 or 5 sticks of dynamite in those. You put 8 or 9 or 10 sticks of dynamite in those. Those fuses weren't staggered to go off one at a time. All those fuses were stretched out and cut longer than any other fuse up there, so go off at the end. And they were cut at an angle, so they would detonate at one time. When that thing burns in, guys, and detonates all simultaneously on that 40 ton of rough crushed rock, it'll take that rock, flip it up, it'll smack that ceiling, a lot of momentum. Has to go somewhere. It'll toss that rock pile out and put it right in the front for easy access for this mining school.
Holy cow.
But now they're lazy. Before they even lit the fuses, guys, they drag a piece of sheet metal right up here, maybe about 4 foot by 5 foot, at least a 1/4 inch thick, and get that leading edge, that big old square sheet metal as close as they can to that bottom lip right there. So when that 40-ton of rock flips out of there, it lands right on that sheet metal. Now you can grab your square point to shovel it a lot easier. But your ore car's way over there. You want to get out of here on time. So you got that sheet metal, that pile of rock sitting on it. You take another stick of dynamite and cut it in half. Put a fuse in the other end. Take half that stick of dynamite, put it underneath that corner on that sheet right there. Get the other half, do the same thing with that corner, light your fuses, walk down about where the drill is at. What happens when it detonates, you create a catapult. They'll take that rock pile, lift that sheet up, and flip it right back over there.
No way.
Yes, ma'am. That's a little cheating right there.
That's our shit, not that's pretty good.
Let's step in the back room, guys. The last little stop in the tour. She wants to see the privy back here, kids.
Yes.
We'll check it out.
About the Foursquare?
Square set, yes, ma'am.
That's what it was called, the Foursquare?
A square set.
Where is that?
Square set.
Ah, it's close. That's it?
Yeah. That's the funny part right there, guys. After 1916,
No, were women miners though? Was it only now?
up to 1975, no, and I don't think a whole lot of women applied for work down there. Very, very labor intensive. But there's a job nowadays, guys, that the mining companies here in 2020 would rather hire a woman for than a man. That's in the big open pit copper mines. That's driving those big old haul trucks with the dump trucks right there. They've done a study. This is all mining companies, folks. They find out. I'm not a traitor to mankind, guys. Don't get me wrong. But they found out that women have calmer nervous systems, more patience than men. Can you imagine that? I can do well. My wife will be the first one to raise her hand right there.
Remember myself.
Anyway, 179 miles north of here, the Minari Tire Farm, Morenci, Arizona. They'll take a lady up there, a trainer. No CDL, but you're working on private property. You'll be working 12-hour days, 8 days on and 8 days off right there, flopping from night shift to day shift. Work a couple of your days off, a year or two up there, you can make $140,000 a year. A lot of the young gals do that, folks. They get the time and put some, go to college after that, work 4 or 5 years, go to school, take a vacation, road trip, whatever, man. So the opportunity's still there for the young ladies today. They have guys too, hard guys too. They prefer to have the young ladies right there, for sure.
Where is that at?
Morenci, Arizona. You guys from Chicago? There's some people here from Tombstone too, right? Or you got some?
Tucson.
Tucson, okay. Yeah, it's 179 miles. Anybody know where Safford, Arizona is at? It's 50 miles from that. It's a world-class open pit copper mine, going strong to this day. Every day I worked up there, we put out 2.5 million pounds a day in that place up there. That's a going son of a gun there.
That's open pit, right?
A huge open pit.
Yeah.
Have you seen an open pit down here?
No, I haven't.
When you get the tour, just take a right out of the parking lot.
Okay.
You'll see it immediately on the right hand side. And that's a small one. The Morenci's open pit is over 5,500 feet deep, about 8 miles long and 10 miles wide.
Holy
right there.
cow.
And it'll be going bigger as we're talking right now. But they backfill as they go in now for EPA right there.
Yeah.
My favorite topic down here, guys, is what's right above the head. The timber above me is original 1911. The guy in the back's probably smarter than the rest of us. It's 2017 above him. It wasn't dry, caving in, it was dry riding, guys, when we put that in. We tore that down from the top down and rebuilt it from the top down too. That's quite a big deal. It doesn't end right there. You got the 2x12s, the 3x12s above that, and it's blocked in with timber and wedges to the unconformity of the limestone up above. But folks, both the new and the old timber is all Douglas fir and pine. In fact, every piece of timber in this mine is Douglas fir and pine.
Wow.
And Douglas fir and pine is actually a very soft, weak wood, but that's why they use it, guys. They found out worldwide through the history of mining, your good strong oak, mahogany, cedar, whatever it is, would definitely support a lot more weight than pine, no doubt about that. But that was its downfall, no pun intended. It was too rigid. It would take that weight and take that weight until it couldn't take it anymore. Then without any warning, snap and cave in. Man working down below would never know what his guys was over with like that. Douglas fir, pine starts to take the weight instead of snapping, guys. It will start to blow and sway down. This stuff will actually split and pop real loud before it caves in. Hopefully, give them plenty of time for those miners to get out and get to safety right there. Any questions, folks? We'll get back to surface here.
No, it's pretty cool.
Some of these timbers are 100 years old.
Son, brother? Yeah. Over. Yeah.
You're still in.
One more little quick thing. This young man's really interested in mining. I heard something about you were telling me, you guys hired a guy to take into some old mines and check stuff out?
That's not me. It's the guy. The other one.
Oh,
He went prospecting.
what's his name?
Larry.
Larry.
Larry's right here.
Oh, Larry, this is Larry's partner right here.
Grandfather.
You guys go into old mines and start, that's fine, he's still your partner, man. Go in there and do some prospecting and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Be very careful about going in old time mines, guys. When you see the nice square timber like this, don't worry too much about it. Every time you're in an old mine, guys, you run into the round timber, it's a good time to back up, because you're in the oldest part of the mine. It was round because they harvested those from the local mountain ranges, and they didn't dress them quite right. Their sawmills weren't good enough. They did put the little step down cuts on them sometimes, but it's a good, if you ever get in a place like that, it's a good place to be heads up or back out, guys, yeah. And around the entrances of those mines, be very careful of rattlesnakes. I can't condemn you too much, because I've done that 1,000 times in my lifetime, but it's not a really super smart idea if you don't know what you're doing. I'm glad you took a guide or somebody to show you what you're doing, that's really
So
cool.
we were in Rattlesnake Lake and we go back.
Okay, you guys are heads up.
Yep. He said you always watch for rattlesnakes the first 20 feet in the mine.
Yeah,
that's where you'll
after
find
nothing for them to eat, you don't have to worry about it, yeah.
Yeah, too cold for them.
I've ran into them twice.
Really?
Places like that, yeah, I sure have. In my lifetime.
And you backed away slowly?
The first one, there was a line of people in front of me, and my son was with the guide. And I was the guy in the back with the rear with the gear. I had a big old backpack on, just kind of waiting my turn to go. And all of a sudden, I see my son just whipping by. Wow! And he goes down the trail right there. And the guy just stepped in the entrance, and right there was about a foot hitch down there, and there was a rattlesnake coiled up right there.
Oh my God.
The other one, me and my dad were doing exactly what you two were doing right there. And we were going up and added a mine, which we've been in before, added a horizontal entrance right there. And one of them started hissing and rattling and striking at nothing. And we just backed out and we didn't go back until the cold winter time right there.
Yep, you gotta always watch out.
I got my own engine.
What do you think, Larry? Life pretty cool? You want to come and work in the mine?
Maybe.
I think we'll find lots of gold in here.
Yeah, it would.
Other good stuff. This has been a fun time. WD-40 on these wheels. Must be a superintendent's area. Open up the door.
Why do you close the door? Keep our little, one got positive and pressurizing. Oh, okay. Keep that, whatever's else from 142 miles of getting into our little tunnel here. Well, it's a couple hundred feet in front of me. We'll go around a curve on the right hand side. Have your iPhones and cameras ready. I'll slow down. There's an old incline chute right there. Take a good photo of it.
You're gonna film it, right, Jeff?
Yeah, we're gonna film the incline.
I'll keep the light on
Yeah. What's that battery? 250 cars, it took 20 to 30 or 40 volts. I'm gonna ask you to run so I know
Surface this way, Larry. See gold nuggets in there? Surface this way. Gold mine. What's this here, Larry?
You're mine. There's one good. Mine.
Look at that. Oh, the ore would go down there.
And your
Gee.
profits are locked down here.
Oh yeah, where's that? You see this one? Larry's going back to the light of day. Oh boy. Uh-oh, rolling backwards. Open up the door to the mine. There's the sun.
There's the sun.
Excited to be back in the sun.
Yes.
Sun.
Yes, sir, sonny boy.
Sunny boy Jimmy grabbing gold nuggets. Uh-huh. Boba Jet.
Hey, there's the old donkey.
A mule, yeah?